Welcome, dear viewers, to the first video of the Healthy and Happy channel. In this channel, we are interested in presenting many topics that interest you to make your life healthier and happier. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to receive our daily videos. What do you think about your health? Is your health one of your priorities? Health is greater than gold. Money can buy horses and houses, balls and dolls, and a lot of other things that people think will make them happy. Even a mansion full of gold cannot buy the one thing that is more valuable than anything else. This is what excellent health is all about. Today, we have over 3 million sick people, many of whom are in excruciating pain. Some of them will sacrifice everything they had to reclaim the good health that the poorest people can usually achieve via proper day-to-day living. What is your life expectancy? The majority of people born live to be over 40 years old, with some living to be over a century old. Most people died before they became 35 years old 100 years ago. Only around half of those born in London 300 years ago lived to be 25. In India today, just around half of the population is over the age of 25. In fact, Indians die at about twice the rate that we do in the United States. This is due to the fact that in India, they have not learned as well as we have how to care for the body. Hygiene is a science that teaches people how to stay healthy. Whether you stay healthy and live a long time or suffer from frequent headaches, colds, and other illnesses is primarily determined by how you treat your body. Collaboration for the sake of health. It is impossible to stay healthy and strong solely by one's own efforts. The grocer and milkman may sell you substandard food, the town may provide you with contaminated water, and churches and schools may harm your health by neglecting to provide adequate ventilation in their structures. Last year, more than 100,000 individuals became seriously ill as a result of drinking water contaminated by waste that other people irresponsibly dumped into streams and wells. Many of the sick died as a result of the water's fever. Although we are not technically at war, we are unquestionably murdering one another through our careless habits of spreading disease. As a result, we must not only know how to care for our own bodies, but also teach everyone how to help one another stay healthy. A wartime lesson. Those who have experienced the horrors of war shiver at the thought of it. With its harvest of maimed bodies, shattered limbs, and blinded eyes, disease has inflicted more than 10 times as much pain and death as conflict. In many wars, the soldiers took such good care of their health, but who died in battle died from sickness. This demonstrates how the human who preserved himself from disease by taking care of his health, and therefore achieved a wellness for his life. The fight against disease. Famine, conflict, and wild beasts have all caused more anguish, misery, and death over the centuries. A plague known as the Black Death spread across most of the globe many years ago, killing roughly 1/3 of the population. Yellow fever killed thousands of people in Philadelphia and New York in only a few weeks a little more than a century ago. More than half of the people in Boston had smallpox in a year when the city had a population of 11,000 people. When smallpox first arrived to us, it killed half of the tough red men of Woodlands in a few years. Due to the deadly disease of smallpox, few boys or girls reached the age of 20 without a pit-marked face before the year 1798. Because we hadn't yet understood how to prevent it as we do now, this disease was once more common than measles and chickenpox. Disease has been defeated. When diseases like cholera, yellow fever, black death, and smallpox erupt in a town or city, people no longer flee into the forest to escape them. We figured out how to prevent these diseases in people who follow the rules of health. People used to flee cities when yellow fever was declared until 1900, but now anyone may sleep with a fever sufferer without contracting the sickness since we have learned how to prevent it. Nurses and doctors no longer hesitate to spend hours in the rooms of smallpox patients because they understand how to treat the body to keep the sickness under control. Boys and girls can learn not only how to avoid these diseases, but also how to regulate their bodies so that they are strong enough to avoid other diseases. The state of one's health in adulthood is determined by how one's health was cared for as a child. During the school years, the groundwork for sickness is frequently laid. The development of robust bodies that will live long and happy lives must begin in childhood. The best moment to start living well is while you're young. Bad habits acquired early in life might lead to a lot of grief later in life. It is estimated that more than half of all alcoholics started drinking before the age of 20, and the majority of smokers started using tobacco before the age of 20. Parts of the body. Any portion of the body must have a name in order to be discussed. The trunk is the most important part of the body. The head is located at the apex of the trunk. Limbs or extremities refer to the arms and legs. The forearm is the area of the arm between the elbow and the wrist. The region of the leg between the knee and the hip is known as the thigh. The ribs encircle the top section of the trunk, which is known as the chest. The abdomen is the lowest half of the trunk. The lungs and heart are housed in a huge chamber in the chest. The liver, stomach, food tube, and other functional components are all housed in the abdomen's hollow. The body's layout. The human body is not made up of identical pieces. One section is responsible for one type of labor, while another is responsible for a completely different task. The skin is the body's outermost layer. Muscle is the red meat underneath. It resembles the meat from the butcher shop, which is made from the muscle of a cow or an ox. Muscle accounts for over half of the body's weight. The muscle is attached to the bones that support and stiffen the body. By pulling on the bones, the muscle assists the body in performing a variety of tasks. Muscles and bones cannot function without being fed on a daily basis. As a result, a feeding tube runs from the mouth to the trunk, where milk, meat, bread, or other food is prepared for the body's consumption. The body's nutrition. The meal is taken into the mouth and chewed so that it can be swallowed effortlessly. It next enters the stomach, which is a sac. The hard portions are broken down into little pieces and float around in a liquid. This exits the stomach and enters the intestine, a long, twisted tube. The particles are finer here, and the entire mass is ready to be taken to every area of the muscles, bones, and brain to rebuild what has been worn down during labor and play. Food is transported through the body. There are small branching tubes in every part of the body. These connect to form larger tubes that lead to the heart. Blood travels through these vessels. Hundreds of small tubes in the intestines lining swallow up the liquid food, which then circulates with the blood to the heart. The heart then propels this blood, together with its nourishment, out through a second set of tubes that branch out into fine branches, and lead to every area of the body. Disposing of ashes and worn-out parts. The human body functions like a machine. Food is used in the same way that coal is used to fuel a train. Some ashes are left over from consumed food, and other waste is created by the dead and worn-out parts. The waste is collected by the blood tube's numerous branches and delivered to the lungs. Every time you take a breath, part of it escapes. A portion of the waste is excreted through perspiration and a portion is excreted through the kidneys. This prevents dead stuff from accumulating in the body and obstructing its internal organs. How the body's parts are designed to work together. Muscles are the various components that make up the mass of red flesh that covers the bones. When we catch a ball, run, or even speak, more than a dozen muscles must work together in a coordinated manner. Something must inform the stomach juice to leak out of the walls to act on the food when food enters the stomach. The brain and spinal cord, with their tiny threads, the nerves, spreading everywhere through bones and muscles, are the bosses or managers of all the work carried out by the millions of parts of the body. The nerves carry out the directives given by the brain and spinal cord. The body's servants are a group of people that serve the body. The body's portions are similar to the servants in a big house or the clerks in a store. One servant or clerk may perform one type of labor while another performs a completely other task. Each part of the body performs a different function. Each of these sections that performs a certain function is referred to be an organ. The stomach is a digestive organ, and the heart is a pump that circulates blood throughout the body. Several hundred organs make up the human body. Each one is made up of a variety of tissue-like components. The stomach's lining is formed of a skin-like tissue, while the outside is made of muscle tissue. Little things called cells and very fine threads called fibers make up the smallest elements of a tissue. The development of the body. The body grows quickly in childhood and then more slowly after the 16th year, yet it continues to expand until around the 25th year. Some children are born with sluggish growth, weak bones, and feeble bodies. This is usually because they eat bad food or don't chew it properly, and they don't get enough fresh air, sunlight, or sleep. Beer, wine, and cigarette usage may prevent the body from utilizing food for growth, or they may poison the body, preventing it from ever becoming huge and strong. During the first 13 years of life, the body should gain roughly 100 pounds in weight. The food that children feed their bodies determines how much or how little they grow. Finally, we found that health is a great blessing that people describe as a crown on the heads of healthy people that only those who suffer from its loss can see it. The importance of health for a person lies in the fact that preserving it prevents him from feeling pain, and preserves his energy and his physical and mental abilities. In addition, a person who enjoys complete health is able to be more productive, distinguished, and creative than a person who suffers from a lack of health. From the grace of God Almighty, giving the human body a strong immune system that protects it from diseases and reduces the possibility of contracting them. This indicates the importance of a person being in good health so that he can perform his duties in life to the fullest. Caring for health preoccupies a person with things that are beneficial to him and his society instead of being preoccupied with treating diseases resulting from neglect. It also opens horizons for the person to take on greater responsibilities, make better progress in all areas of life, and be a successful person. Since many jobs and works require a person to be in full physical and mental health in order to perform them to the fullest extent, and to prevent him from becoming disabled or in need of others. Also, a person who maintains his health is a more socially acceptable person, especially if he suffers from an infectious disease. People are alienated from a person who is sick with infectious diseases for fear of contracting the same disease, and they refrain from mixing with him for fear of their health. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe the channel.